microphone on per chance? Or do we have that? Oh, it must be that one that was on.
Yeah, it was. Can you grab those batteries?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Should be good to go. Let me see it.
Yeah, just a minute. I'll give people a couple more minutes.
Check 1, 2, check. Check. There you go. Okay.
The recovery just my mom, she like the last time she got pneumonia once and it took her about like once or 7 weeks to recover. Like she'd go back to work like regular and just shocked and all. And then my dad, like he didn't get COVID. He got like taken up and kind of breathing heavy and stuff. So
Well, good morning. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Doing good. Good. And hi to everybody online. Everyone's joining this morning. If you want to, log on your phone and say hey to people, you can feel free to do so. Okay, well, today's kind of feels like a weird day, a little bit. Sound guy, can you come fix this?
It's part of the weird day.
Is it blue? Yeah, I think that's better. Oh, no, it's not. Ooh.
Try holding it a little bit further away from you.
Okay.
You're so radiant.
I'm fine not using it, but I'm afraid that online people won't be able to hear me if I don't.
It's making my eyes water.
Your eyes water.
Everything makes my eyes water.
Now talking to it?
Okay, hello. Okay, maybe that was it.
No, it's not.
Jeez.
It's like in the airplane.
Try holding it from further away than you can worry about.
I know.
Have you guys seen
You're just
Nope?
gonna have to talk loud and I'll bring the.
Okay.
There's that noise in it.
That's really annoying.
You turned it off and it's still doing
Okay, for online people, can you guys hear me still if I don't have the microphone? Or you guys let me know in the chat if you're able to still hear.
Comment below. Make sure to subscribe.
Dan,
Comment below, like and subscribe. What?
he fixed it.
Hey Mark, good morning. Did you fix it?
Janine said that
Oh, he's a genius.
Okay.
It's like a triple threat, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright.
Okay. All right, good. Here we go. So anyway, today's just a little bit of a weird day, and I'm assuming you all have heard the news that we shared last week. If you haven't, sorry. Does anybody not know what's happening? Okay, just making sure. That always felt really bad if someone's like, "What?"
Wait, what?
So today it's a weird day. It's been a weird week. I preemptively grabbed these. I was like, I'm gonna need these today, so I just grabbed them off the counter, and I was like, "There's good ones. Those right there." Dang it. I was trying so hard to stay composed, and then but here we are, our last couple weeks as a church, and this week has been I feel like I've been kind of walking around in a fog, just sort of, grief is just weird, our bodies process it in really different and weird ways, and it's weird how you can know, you can feel at peace about something, but also feel so much grief at the same time. It's just such a weird thing. Good morning. Welcome. And so it's been a hard week, and it's weird because it's I both want to say so many things, but also was really struggling to find words at the same time. Just what a journey this has been. And for a decade, 10 years is a really long time, and I was kind of reflecting over the last 10 years, and obviously, if I were to sit here and share every single thing I remember about the past 10 years, we'd be here forever. But I was just kind of thinking back to the very beginning, where in July of 2012, when Dan and I packed up our 3 kids at the time, they were 7, 5, and 2, and moved down here with 20 of our friends. Highly recommend, if you ever decide to start a church, I highly recommend doing it with 20 of your good friends. And we just moved down here, and we got apartments, and got jobs. I remember when Benji was working in the cigarette cage at Sam's Club, and Jonathan, didn't
Pest
you?
control.
Oh, pest control, yeah, like, we were all just like, you know, we just didn't know anybody and had no connections, and we were like, this sounds like a good idea, let's move to a new city where we don't know anybody and figure it out. And so, you know, I think one thing I do remember is we were all so like excited and eager to really love people well and to really do good in the community. That was something, you know, we were not perfect, and we can go back and go, ooh, yeah, like maybe that wasn't the best thing, but I think underneath it all, we all just had such a desire to love this community well and to do good. And, you know, we spent a year living here and doing things in the community before we even started church. We actually started or helped lead a local elementary school, like after school club called Kids Rock Club. We did that before we even started having Sunday morning services. So Dan was like leading a kids after school program, and we were all helping, and it was so great. And I remember how one of the first things we did as Eikon is we had like a church bank account, and we had met this little girl at the school. The school counselor reached out to us, and she basically needed a ear surgery that her family couldn't afford. And so we emptied our bank account and paid for her to get that surgery. That was like the first thing we did as a church. Her name was Carla, I still remember her. I remember when I started Bloom, the Eikon Women's Ministry, hosting nights where we just really wanted women to have a place to connect with each other and grow and learn. So we did that. I remember hosting Night to Shine. Did you guys ever participate in Night to Shine? It's like a prom for individuals with disabilities and special needs, and we did it I think 3 years in a row, and it's like our favorite thing we ever did. The last one was in February of 2020, so before the world shut down. But we even had like a friend of our, Melissa Townsend, who led the whole thing, had a connection with the guy that did fireworks. We had a full-on like fireworks show at the church after Night to Shine. I remember for years working our cans off to put on the Easter extravaganza, where again, thought it was brilliant to take a helicopter and fly it over a bunch of small children's heads and drop eggs out of it. But it was super cool.
Not on their heads.
Not on their heads.
Yes.
Like, you know, but you know, every year we watched the helicopter hover and we were like, oh, if something bad happened, that would be the end for all of us. And I remember like as it grew and grew every year and got to the point, I think, how many people came the year before we partnered with the city? It was like
So many.
7,000.
Yeah, 7,000 people. And so eventually we were like, the city was like, well, do you want to partner? We're like, yes, because we can't do this anymore on our own. You know, I remember Dan losing his faith and standing up before everyone on an Easter Sunday morning and being honest about that. Something that was really scary and hard, and that you just don't see a lot of pastors get up on a stage and go, hey, I don't know if I believe any of this. And I, for a while, lost my faith. Like, I'll never forget that. I remember losing my own faith for a while, and deeply wrestling with my theology and feeling so lost and scared about where that road would lead. I remember waking up to the reality that we had caused harm to LGBTQ folks with our theology, and that it was our work to repair what we broke and to move forward fighting for full affirmation and inclusion for LGBTQ folks. I remember the choices to stand up for justice in multiple ways and speaking out against racism and white supremacy and xenophobia and homophobia, and I remember paying the prices for that, but also realizing that no cost was too high if it meant more people could find liberation.
Yeah.
I remember when COVID hit and we thought we'd just be online for a few weeks. Oh, we just didn't know. We didn't know. I remember the fall of 2020, and I remember the losses we suffered, and how there was so much uncertainty for our future. I remember how for the past 2 years, we've shifted the way that we do church, and how we have built a really beautiful community with people both locally as well as people from around the country and even the world. We've had life-giving conversations, and we've challenged our long-held beliefs. We've made space for grief and doubt and questions and changing our mind and being angry at God and being unsure if we even believe any of it anymore. We've been on a journey of doing the hard work together of anti-racism and fighting oppressive systems and loving our neighbors and working for justice and inclusion. We've donated to multiple organizations in our community who are doing important work, and we've provided apartment furnishings for Afghan refugees, and we've mentored kids in schools and served local teachers, and we've marched in protests for Black lives, we've participated in pride events. We've taken care of each other, and we've provided meals and financial assistance for those who have needed it, and we've linked arms, and we really have done our best to live out the fact that we all belong to each other. And I know that the things that I'm sharing now are just such a small piece of all the good and beautiful things that we've experienced through Eikon, and obviously things haven't been perfect, and there are things we've gotten wrong, and there's regrets that I have. Gosh, I've gone back before and listened to some of my sermons from like 8 or 9 years ago, and I was just like, aw, I'm like, oh girl, there's so much you didn't know then. But even in those things, there's beauty and goodness, because those failures and mistakes have been opportunities for growth and repentance and change for the better. It all belongs, and it's all part of our journey. And as I sit here and I look at all of you that are here today and see all of you who are online today, and I think about all the faces that have come in and out of our doors over the years, the resounding thought that comes to my mind is, what a gift. What a gift the past 10 years has been. And while Eikon is closing, and we won't be able to gather again in the same way, I also just want us to remember that this isn't actually the end. Yes, it'll look different, and yes, there is still grief and loss and a lot of things to process, but it isn't the end, not really. Because who we are, the faith that we have, the work we're doing, the love and care that we have for each other in our community, that's not ending. That doesn't change.
Yeah.
What we have gained during our time here, the things we have learned, the passion that we have for justice, the community we found with each other, those things can and will continue. And I was thinking about what message I wanted to leave with you, like what I wanted to communicate for my last sermon as your pastor. And the one thing I kept coming back to is a scripture that has been really foundational for this church, the scripture that Dan really stood on during his time as our pastor. And he even has it tattooed on his arm, and we have a sign hanging in our living room that Jonathan and Christina bought us that says it on there. But it's this, it's Micah 6:8, and it says, "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." This really sums it up for me, even when I think about my own faith. Like, this is it. First, to act justly. My hope for all of us is that we would never stop working for justice in our world. That we would have eyes to see where injustice and oppression are crushing fellow image bearers, and that we would not turn away, but rather we would do our part to help set people free. That we would learn to put aside any personal rights that we think we have and instead choose to care more about what does the most amount of good for the most amount of people. That for us white folks, that we would continue to work to dismantle and repent for the racism that exists within our hearts, that we would listen to and support and learn from our BIPOC siblings. That we would continue to fight for the rights for our LGBTQ siblings, both within the church and outside of it. And that we would do our part to make the world a safe place for them to be their authentic selves. That we would see the ways in which marginalized people are being silenced or excluded by oppressive systems such as white supremacy or ableism or homophobia or xenophobia in our schools and workplaces and neighborhoods and families, and that we would speak out and we would have the hard conversations, that we would hold people accountable, and that we would allow ourselves to be held accountable when we inevitably get it wrong, because we will. My hope is that we will continue to work for justice. And then second, to love mercy. My hope is that we will continue to be people who love mercy. That we would hold on to the belief that no one is beyond hope and that everyone deserves a chance at redemption. That we wouldn't give in to cancel culture, but rather we would make space for people to learn and grow and to do better. That we would take Jesus' teachings about loving our enemies to heart, and that we would remember that, as Brian Stevenson says, each of us is more than the worst thing we have ever done. That we would do the hard work of forgiveness because there is freedom to be found in letting go of what we can't control. And that it's in forgiveness that we can set ourselves and others free. That we would have mercy on ourselves, that we would truly come to love ourselves and to forgive ourselves and to see ourselves as worthy of love and goodness and second chances, because like the great theologian Lizzo says, we can heal the world, but first we have to heal ourselves.
Yep.
That we would choose mercy over hate, mercy over judgment, mercy over payback. May we be people that continue to choose mercy. And third, my hope is that we would walk humbly with God. That we would let go of certainty and embrace uncertainty, knowing that there is something so beautiful and freeing about leaning into the mystery. That we would hold our beliefs about faith in the divine loosely, and that we would live with open hearts and open minds. That we would approach our faith with humility, recognizing that we don't have the corner on the market on truth and that we don't have all the answers. That when we are wrong, we would humbly admit it and then move forward, seeing it as an opportunity for growth. That when it is necessary to hold others accountable, that we would do it with humility, extending the same grace to others that we want to have extended to us. That we would stay curious. That when we don't understand someone or when we disagree with someone, that our first response wouldn't be to judge or to shun or to belittle or to dehumanize, but rather to ask lots of questions. That we would stay curious about others, about our faith, about the divine, and about the world around us. My hope is that we would continue to walk humbly, to act justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly. This is how I know I want to live my life, and that's my hope for all of us as we move forward into whatever chapter and season is next for all of us beyond this moment. And then, Sabrina, are you wanting to share today? Or do you want us to next week?
I'll go next week.
Next week? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So, as we kind of, move forward, I just pray that we would hold those things to heart and that our lives would continue to look like that. That we remember that, like the community that we've built with each other, that doesn't just go away because the church ends. Yeah, it'll look different. Yeah, I know that there's a season for things that includes relationships, and I understand all of those things. But the community that we've built here, I think we will probably need it more than ever once the church closes, because we're going to need each other. I look back over the past couple of years, and just still really glad I said yes 2 years ago. And just really grateful for each and every memory that I've already said, every moment that we've had, and for every person in this room and not in this room. Just really, really grateful. Next week will be our last time gathering together, and next week is just going to be, we're just going to spend time together. We're going to have food. Amanda and Sabrina are going to share some of their final thoughts. We're going to give everyone else an opportunity, whoever wants to share memories or anything that anyone has in their hearts. We'll have an open mic, and people will be able to do that, throughout the morning. And then I know that this has been really short this morning, but I just kind of feel like that's all that I had in me to say for today. But there are a couple of things that I want to make. I'm actually going to look over at the chat really quick on this just to make sure.
That's good.
But there are two things that I want to share with you guys moving forward. So the first thing is Janine Eikons. She's a beloved community member who now lives in Arizona. Did live in Seattle, but now lives in Arizona. She reached out to me and we were talking about the church closing, and she's someone that found Eikon right after Clarity, and when we went online only, she found the church at a time when she really needed it. And what I love about Janine is she really genuinely, she wants people to feel connected. She wants people to feel like they belong. She wants people to have a safe place to be able to process and to have community with other people. And so moving forward, Janine is going to be hosting just an open Zoom starting on December 13th. Every other Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central. She's going to be hosting a Zoom, and it is no agenda. It's not like, hey, we're going to preach a sermon, or hey, we're going to do a Bible study, or hey, it's a book club. This is just simply for people to stay connected with each other. And so she said there's no pressure. She'll open up the call every week, and no one gets on. It's fine. There's just no pressure. But she just wanted there to be provide a way for people who still wanted to be able to have that community to be able to have that. And so we will post the link for that Zoom. We'll send it out in our final email this week, and then we'll also post it on all of our social media. And then next week we'll bring a card that has that information on it, so everyone can take it with you if you want to. And then lastly, I know with Eikon closing, I'm sure people are in different spots. There might be some of you who are like, I just need a break from church for a while. But for those of you who gathering in a faith community is really important to you, I was kind of thinking about recommending some other churches to check out. And obviously we have a lot of churches in our community that, I'm sure would be more than willing to welcome you in. I think the one tricky thing is what our community is lacking is there aren't many options for churches that are fully affirming and inclusive for LGBTQ folks. And I know that for a lot of us, that's pretty much a non-negotiable when it comes to a church. And so I reached out to my friend Zach Lambert, who pastors a church in Austin. And here's what you have to know about Zach. Through the process of Clarity, we lost a lot of relationship with other churches in our area. Experienced a lot of loss of belonging, churches that refused to partner with us. For Amanda with our youth, she was a part of a network of other youth pastors. They took a vote and voted her out after that happened. It was very hard, and we felt very isolated and alone, and have always, since the beginning of the church, have always liked partnering with other faith communities to be able to do good in our community. And when that happened, I didn't know Zach. I had never heard of Restore. And as soon as that happened, as soon as Clarity happened, I got an email from Zach, and he was like, hey, I'd love to hop on a Zoom call with you and hear more of your story. And so Zach and I talked, and he's actually kind of a big deal in the church world. Like, I didn't know this at the time. Like, I had never heard of him before, but he's, you know, he has a relatively decent sized platform that he routinely uses to fight for justice in all kinds of ways. Restore, I would say the feel of Restore, their services probably feel real similar to what Eikon felt like when we had the building. So that kind of a feel. They champion women, they are anti-racist, they fight for LGBTQ inclusion and rights, they are very justice-centered and just trustworthy, good people who welcomed us in when other churches in our area shunned us. They welcomed us in and gave us a place to belong. In fact, their youth group, along with Eikon's youth and a few others, have been for about the past year meeting on a monthly basis together. Zach is just good people, so is their whole team. And I reached out to him and he said that he would love if anyone, when they're ready, feels like they want to check out Restore and potentially make that their home church, he would love to have you. And also said that to feel free if anyone wants his email. He's like, give them my email, I'll meet with them, they can ask questions. Like, so I just wanted to let you know of that they're trustworthy. You can trust them, and that they're doing such good work and loving the community and just doing some really important work. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that moving forward, so that maybe, I know it can be, looking for a new church can just be exhausting. And so I just wanted to put that out there for anyone that, you know, that's interested. So yes.
I know there's a few other churches also, maybe we can put a list together.
Yeah.
for next week.
Yeah, we'll do that too. We'll put down a list of all the churches on there. Yes, Stephen was asking, yes, they do have online services as well, Restore does. So for all of you who are, you know, joining from another state, yeah, they have that ability as well. So, see, I probably shouldn't look at the chat right now because I'm too emotional. Well, I mean, that's all that I have for today. Sorry, it feels kind of weird. It's just weird. It just is what it is, you know? But I'd love to see you all here next week. We just kind of celebrate together and just be together in this way one last time. Feel free to grab some donuts on your way out. They're very colorful. If you haven't seen them, they're like very colorful donuts, sweet. So, but yeah, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and pray for you all before we close out, and then hopefully we'll see you guys back here next week. God, thank you so much for everybody in this room, that you are good and that you are love. This might be hard for us to walk through this grieving process, but I believe, and even on the days when I don't, I'm trusting that you are good and you have good things for us. That you will lead us and guide us, because that's what the Spirit always says. And so thank you for the chance for the past 10 years for all of us to be able to be a part of this together. I do believe, and I've had multiple people say this to me, that the work that we have done, it's not ending, that the things that we fought for and the things that we have done will continue. And I just pray for special, extra grace over everyone in this community as we say our goodbyes and we grieve the loss and we move on. I just pray for extra grace for everyone as the process. In your name I pray. Amen. Love you all. Have a good day.